Welcome to the FNO InsureTech podcast, a place where movers and shakers from all points within the insurance ecosystem gather and discuss all things InsureTech. We talk about how technology and innovation are affecting and driving change in the industry. Here are your hosts, Lee Boyd and Rob Beller.
Hey, podcast world. Welcome to yet another edition of a couple of guys blibber blabbering.
Just enjoying life.
Just having a good old time.
Jibber jabbering.
Right. This has become literally our favorite hobby. It's another episode of the one, the only FNO InsureTech.
Yay.
Starring Lee Boyd with other guy and the other guy, Rob Beller.
Lee and Rob. We'll start calling it Lee and Rob instead of Rob and Lee.
No,
that doesn't sound right.
No. There's no ring to that. That's not happening.
There's no ring to that.
No,
I did notice the other day, I was reading LinkedIn, and every time Al posts something on there, it's join Rob and Lee whenever they're, and I thought, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I pay him to do it that way. So I have a little news for you. I have some news.
What's your
breaking news?
Okay.
This is the beginning of our third year of this podcast.
Third year.
Or no, we've done 3 years.
That's funny because I think it's the beginning of our fourth year.
Thank you. That meant it was our third anniversary.
This will be, one, that's anniversary, 2, anniversary, 3, anniversary. This is our fourth year. I don't know. What's the official thing? You're married for a year. You get an anniversary. It's your first.
We had our third birthday.
Yeah.
Hey, we're celebrating our third birthday right now.
Yeah. On to a year. What does year 4 have in store for us?
Ooh.
Because last year was a whirlwind. Never really knew what's going to go on there. The year before, all of a sudden, this thing called COVID came around, and what is year 4? What does year 4 have in store?
Well, we could talk about what we hope for and what we wish.
Yeah.
I wish that we have many great guests, like the guest we have today.
I think that would be a great way to start year 4.
Don't you think? I think if we could have a guest from a direct-to-consumer InsureTech, that would be a good thing to happen in the fourth year.
Who comes from a traditional insurance carrier who knows how things are done, right?
Right. He's
trained,
an insurance guy. He's an
insurance guy going to the world of InsureTech to help lead the claims initiative. That'd be a great guest.
Swinging from the mainstream of insurance over into this crazy thing called InsureTech. We have with us today Clay Rising, Vice President of Claims at Kin Insurance.
Yeah, he's a great guy. As I said, he came from the carrier world. He's staying in the insurance world with Kin. He's helping to lead the claims department over there, and he's been around a while. And we're going to talk to him about all sorts of things about using other InsureTechs in the world of claims. We're going to talk all about Kin, what is it, and then we're going to talk about how they actually do claims over there. So it'll be a great conversation.
So without further ado, let's go to our interview with Clay Rising, Vice President of Claims at Kin Insurance. Hey, everybody. We are here with our guest coming to us all the way from sunny but chilly Florida. We have Clay Rising with us, the Vice President of Claims at Kin Insurance. Our second interview from Kin. But we really wanted to get Clay on because we want to talk about claims in the world of an InsureTech and how that's different and how it's not different from what many of you already might know about. But let's start by saying thanks for joining us today. Welcome.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here and talk through some things.
Sure. And where are you exactly?
So we have an office in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida, which is typically, as you said, sunny and beautiful. This week has been a little unseasonably cool. We hit the 30s this week. It's not the most fun thing in the world Florida folk.
And I think it's very important to say that whenever you get that cold, that you said that the iguanas start falling out of the trees, that they kind of freeze, they fall down, but then they all thaw out and kind of come back.
It's kind of that amazing nature of being cold blooded. When it drops so low, the heart rate drops so low, they fall out of trees, which isn't a huge problem in Tampa, St. Pete area, but a little further south where they're more prevalent. You have to watch out.
I just couldn't imagine going on a walk and all of a sudden the iguana falls out and you're like, well, it's an iguana. It'll be fine.
That's what I'm wondering. Is it so common that you'll be walking down the street and there's an iguana laying there and you'll just say, oh yeah, it's just a frozen iguana.
He'll be fine.
And just keep walking.
Push him to the side.
Honestly, I don't think very many people in Florida go for walks when it's 30 degrees, 40 degrees outside because they're used to 80 and 100% humidity. So
that's true. You stock up and just stay.
So let's start by talking about other things besides frozen iguanas, which actually
that's pretty good.
We can do a whole podcast on that.
They're big.
Okay, well, it's been great having you with us today.
Okay, the entire audience is now Googling frozen iguana.
Guaranteed. Let's move on from iguanas and let's talk about kin. So let's start by talking about what kin is. And because there are those in our audience who live in caves who haven't heard of kin. So give us a minute on what kin is and what you do there.
Yeah, absolutely. So kin is an InsureTech that is based in Chicago, and we have a brick and mortar office down in St. Pete, as you said earlier. Started writing in Florida in late 2019. We are 100% a direct consumer model insurance company that really just drives relationships directly with the customer and able to tap into data science and data aggregators to gather information and make decisions and really streamline processes for insureds and potential customers. And, as you look at the traditional insurance model, our policies, everything else is very similar, but it's all about how you reach out, how you communicate, and how you build your business.
You just said that you were direct to consumer. Are there agents involved at all?
Yeah. So we have a team of in-house agents.
In-house agents,
but they're 100% in-house.
So any of the
they're captive.
They're all captive. You don't have any of the independent agents out there?
So there's 0% independent agents out there. And I think to clarify on the captive term, historically, people hear captive agent and they're like, oh, you're an Allstate agent. You have an Allstate office. You write strictly Allstate. All of ours are kin employees. They work for kin. And all they do is kin policies.
Are you guys just homeowners?
Yes. Well, homeowners, HO6 for condos, mobile home product.
Renters?
All things property there. Yeah.
All things property there. Renters, not yet.
What do you do when somebody says, hey, can you help me with auto?
So right now, all things property, no auto, have not had the appetite to dip our foot in the auto pool.
Yeah.
Really just based on the market and based on, knowing what you're good at and pursuing and pushing for disruption in a market that is ripe for it.
I really want to talk about direct to consumer in a minute, but I want to flesh out a few more things about kin. So we mentioned you, we had your CEO, Sean Harper, on a few years ago. So tell us how things have changed in the last few years. Are you still writing in just a few states? Where can somebody buy a policy from kin, and how's growth going?
Yeah, so growth start off is going great. It's going huge. We just released some 2021 numbers recently where growth year over year is very well and doing very good. We're actively writing and have policies in Florida, Louisiana, and California. We'll be expanding some of those states here in the next quarter or two, depending on some timelines and fleshing some things out. But again, having that direct consumer model allows us to pinpoint where we want to grow and how we want to grow and understand the specific markets that we want to be in.
And you guys recently made an acquisition, or you made an acquisition in 2021, right? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we acquired a shell company late 2021, which has licenses in 43 different states, throughout the continental United States that we will look at and review and decide organically which ones we are going to capitalize and utilize first, and take a strategic approach to it. Buying a company, acquiring a company with 43 licenses does not automatically mean we're going to start writing in 43 states tomorrow.
Yeah.
You have to understand, again, your profile and where you want to go and how you want to get there, and do it in a way that makes sense, and doing it in a strategic way and making sure that all of your deliverables are still there.
So why did y'all buy that company? Was it because they were already licensed? It's just an easier step. What was the strategic thought there?
Yeah, there's a few thoughts there, right? It's all of that, right? Yes, because they did carry the licenses in 43 states, and understanding trajectory and understanding growth plans and everything else, it was a step in the right direction to expedite some of the growth and move into markets that otherwise would have taken a few years to get into for different statutorily required regulations and everything else.
What do you do when somebody calls from Nevada or Georgia?
So really the only time someone in those locations would reach out is a direct referral from somebody, because we're not actively marketing in those areas. And again, being direct consumer, we can pinpoint where and how we market to potential customers. We know that we can market in a specific area if we're looking to expand PIF in that area directly because of the model and how it's built. And really, if we have someone in Nevada and everything else, we still talk to them and still maintain data and maintain a relationship, and ensure them that, hey, as we grow, you'll be the first to know when we enter your state.
So when you guys are advertising why somebody should buy a kin policy instead of another policy from a different carrier, what's unique? What's your special value proposition that you have to offer to a prospective insured?
As the Florida market is a very interesting market and is an ever-changing market. And a lot of that is due to catastrophe risk. A lot of that is due to the litigious nature of the state. A lot of that is also due to, the fact that the state-owned insurer is the largest one in the state, with Citizens carrying more policies than anyone else right now. And really being able to communicate with a potential insured to a customer, and really just delivering that value proposition and explaining to them, how we know more about their house and how we understand more about the risk and everything else, really just provides that conversation and that model. And it's clean and it's easy and it's very efficient for an insured. As you see the models changing and you see customer behavior changing, online usage over the last few years obviously has skyrocketed. Obviously, COVID had a lot to do with that as well, with more people at home and more people in front of computers and more people using Zoom and using these things that 5 years ago we would have said was crazy. No one's walking into an independent agent's office in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
Partially because they couldn't. And granted, Florida is a different animal with some of that, but it is that ease of connectivity and that ease of conversation that really is a huge driver.
You mentioned COVID. Do you think that COVID has been good to kin in that regard?
It's really hard to say good, bad, indifferent, but it's, when you start writing at the end of 2019 and 4 months later, COVID hits.
Yeah, that's tough.
I can't say it's been good or bad because it's what we know. It's the environment that we have operated in. And when you look at the growth numbers, you're like, well, hey, whatever you're doing is working and you're doing it right and you're being effective and efficient.
Right.
Did COVID help or hurt? I don't have a baseline to bounce that off of to say, hey, we would have been 10 points higher, 10 points lower with or without.
Your model is you don't count on people walking into an office anyways.
Correct. But I think when you look at what insurance is and the fact that, it's a promise, it's in the time of need, we are here. It is completely can be an electronic conversation, an electronic agreement, because at the end of the day, it's a unilateral contract. It's a piece of paper and a promise that comes behind that. With COVID, to tell people, get beyond the computer more and see things in a little bit different light and maybe shop more. And all of those things could be construed as a benefit for sure.
We've interviewed quite a few different insurance companies that have come up, and they started, there's two or three that come to mind where they started as a direct to consumer, and then they quickly pivoted to independent agents to sell. They also sell direct to consumer, but they started relying on the agents. It doesn't sound like that's where you're at right now. You're sticking to the straight to consumer. And so what are you able to offer the consumer with that? I assume because you're not paying, commissions to the agent, are you able to offer a less expensive policy? Are you able to invest more in customer service? Are you able to service the client better? What is the value prop there?
Again, it all goes back to the communication aspect of it, right? It's every customer, every potential customer wants to be communicated with in a different way. And it's being able to understand what that is. A certain percentage of all of our policies come through with completely self-served. The customer goes online and goes completely throughout the process, binds a policy without talking to anybody.
Yeah.
And those customers love that.
Absolutely.
And then you have the customer that calls in and talks to someone for 2 minutes and binds. And some people love that 2-minute connection. And some people call in and they want to talk for 45 minutes and run through every single line. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. We have that, and we are here to service all three of those and anyone on that spectrum. And being able to do that in a clean and efficient way across the board is hugely important. And understanding that everyone is different. Every house is different. Every customer wants to communicate differently and everything else. And I think that that's one reason why homeowners was ripe for that disruption and the idea of direct consumer, because everything is different. We don't have a VIN number on our houses that we can punch into a computer and get a printout of every single part, every single OEM piece, and a price for it. And we have to understand the differences that go into construction and risk and type and everything else.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very interested about the claims side. That's your world. That's where you're at. You come from this very large company that everything is working, all the cogs are turning, all the processes are built. You walked into this world. I would assume you were able to really put your fingerprints on the design of the claims process. What was that like for you in really trying to get the entire claims department up and running?
Yeah, and really, when you look at it, it's, again, and I keep saying communication and I keep saying conversation and those touch points, but it is really about delivering on that promise, delivering on that experience, and delivering on a customer's expectations.
Yeah.
Obviously the goal is that you don't have a ton of repeated claims. You don't have homeowners with a long history. So you're talking on a frequency point of, a certain number of your policies having a claim every year. And being able to guide a customer through that process is of utmost importance. Being able to communicate with them however and whenever they want to be is also a huge piece. Gone are the days where it's the cable company giving you a 4-hour window to come do an inspection, because everyone understands the pain of that. Gone are the days of, I called your home phone and left a message waiting for a call back and, Polaroid pictures and everything else. Now, we have automation that happens immediately when a claim is filed. That's, sending out emails, sending out text messages, and immediately calling the customers to really establish that level of communication. And that gives us the opportunity, obviously, to gather facts about the loss, but also gather facts about the insured of how they want to be communicated with and how best we can do that moving throughout the process.
That you talking about that makes me think about the demographics of your policyholders. Do you guys find, because you are direct to consumer, that your demographic makeup is a little different?
I get asked that a lot, because it would seem that yes, it would be different, and yes, you would have more of a younger demographic, if you will, that 35 to 45 first-time home buyer. But when you put that into perspective of Florida is our largest state, and the demographic of Florida is not that, it kind of, it's a little bit of a dichotomy between the two, right? Like you think that with this and with the direct consumer, with the online, with texting and everything else. It would be a younger crowd, but the majority of Florida is older. And so it's a nice spread and a nice mix because you get both, the best of both, and you see both. And as a community, we as a people group has seen so much more internet usage and comfort with computers and comfort with internet from every generation over the last 5 or 6 years. That it's not uncommon, to have someone in an older demographic be proficient with doing things online, where 10 years ago, my mom's calling asking how to log into her AOL account, right? Like, that's different.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no more CDs coming in the mail once a week to dial into the internet. And so, again, some of that is being ahead of the curve and understanding. Yeah, absolutely. Understanding what that curve is and being able to tap into it and make sure we're delivering on that.
Yeah. We wouldn't be able to download the CDs anymore anyways. So
no, I haven't had a DVD player in forever.
Right. So you come there and like Lee said, you get to, kind of make it as you want. You're an InsureTech. Did you feel like, okay, I need to make a claims process that's technology forward? And how's that worked out?
An important piece to understand how much technology works. Yeah. There's a cost benefit analysis with everything, and understanding some of the inputs that are necessary for some products that require a ton of insured knowledge and insured lift that we have to understand as an organization and as a group. Is that where the value prop is? And again, harping on the communication piece, it is really being able to deliver expectations and follow up on those promises in an automated and efficient way. Because, you said earlier, did you change the way that the claims are handled?
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest, the state of Florida regulates a lot. The state of Louisiana regulates every state, right? Every different insurance commissioner has their idea of the way things should be done, right? So we are not changing the way things are done, but we can change how efficient we are in getting those things done.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You have to stay within the lines, but then you can make your own world. And it looks like I was reading a press release that you did make your own world back in August of 2020, that you had selected Snapsheet as your claims platform. Is that still your platform today?
Yep. So we're still with Snapsheet and, building out some things and doing some things with them that really help us with that common goal of effective and efficient communication and delivering some of that through automation and, being able to use some of the data science and things in the background to really understand next steps and understand processes and make sure that the insured is informed of every one of those things. Well,
you were a early adopter to Snapsheet's platform, right? Snapsheet's known for a couple of things, and their online, their management platform is one of the things they're known for. So, has that lived up to your expectations? Is it moving with you? Is it growing with you? Is it working for you?
Yeah, they've absolutely made a commitment to work on and build and develop alongside their partners. And I think that, for us, as we were growing and as we were building and as we set expectations and guidelines and guardrails of, what we needed and what we were looking to do, the commitment was there to do those things and be involved in those things and create something that follows along those lines.
That's so great.
I would assume one of the challenges you have is the fact that you're one of your states is about as far away from your biggest state as it can be. And you only have 3 states currently. Managing claims across thousands of miles must be hard. Plus, add on top of that, you don't have great PIF concentration in any one area. So it's not like if you have, some kind of any form of cat that you have tremendous PIF that is in a concentrated area. Talk about the challenges of growing a book of business and taking care of the claims when they're all over the place.
So I think looking at it holistically and looking at the 3 states, and we do have that PIF concentration in Florida. Louisiana, California, obviously Louisiana is growing and we will be at that point where there is that concentration. California is and historically has been, and for the near future will be, a challenging state. And, we talked about this a little bit before, in a previous life, I was in California a ton with wildfires and managing all of the total losses and everything else that arose from all of those wildfires. So I've personally been in California for over 10 years, handling major case level claims and building relationships and building rapport with people on the ground and engineers and hygienists and, the likes. And really having the ability to tap into that prior experience and those prior relationships really does close that 1,000-mile gap to where it isn't on the other side of the world as it is perceived at times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you had good growth in California? I mean, the market here, I'm in California, the market here is crazy in its own right because of all the new rules and thinking around wildfire and how do you underwrite here in a way where you can turn a profit is not easy.
No, and California, again, kind of going back to it has been historically and will continue to be a state that is ripe for growth and is ripe for disruption and challenge due to the fact that, they do have different risk in different segments of the state. I think there's industry folks that kind of laugh that California is like 3 different states based on how it's broken down, based on the risk factors and based on everything else. And, a lot of the benefit of the direct to consumer is we can we can reach out to people in areas that we've identified as less risky or different than other places. And again, it's all directed to that. And it's not just a wide swath of, hey, we're here, we're marketing to everybody.
So I was hoping, Clay, you could kind of clarify something for me. Is Ken a MGA currently, or is Ken a insurance company formerly a MGA?
So formerly an MGA. So when we started in Florida, we were underwriting and servicing the policies as an MGA, and then rolled those policies at renewal and created the agency or the insurance company at that point. And we are a reciprocal insurer, so we're not a stock company. So we do have, the insureds are members that come in, and there's quite a few reciprocal carriers around and out there. And we're an MGA in Florida and we were an MGA in California. So we're not actively writing in California right now with the MGA, but we do currently still have PIF out in that area.
I see. And I guess for the claims department, is there a difference in the way you handle claims as an MGA versus an insurance carrier? No. At
the end of the day, as a claims department, you're reviewing coverage, reviewing damage, and reviewing indemnification. And a policy is a policy and damage is damage. And that's, really at the forefront.
So you get to build this claim department and you're building it. Are you using InsureTech tools and InsureTech providers? Are you trying to, have you had success with that?
So we're trying to, absolutely. And, we're continuously in conversation with other InsureTechs, other non-InsureTechs that are in the business and in the realm of what we're looking to do and how we're, looking to do things. And that's really what we try to focus on is who can we partner with to deliver on the results that we're promising others. Mm-hmm. And kind of circling back to the Snapsheet piece earlier, like some of the automation, some of the communication, that is really a forefront focus of ours. And that was a partner that could deliver on that. And, we've looked at some others and done some things with some others in the space to really optimize that solution.
Mm-hmm. So it isn't so much about using the really cool InsureTech that makes things measure faster. You're really focused on the InsureTech that brings customer service to the forefront. Talk to the customers, keep them engaged, keep them going. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, there's cool tech, but what does that do for the customer experience?
Right. What's the value prop for them? Right.
And at the end of the day, that's what this is. Mm-hmm. We are there in their biggest time of need. We are there when something happened to their largest investment.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing throughout this conversation, throughout this experience that we have with them? Whether it be a 7-day, a 10-day, a year-long relationship we have with the customer. What are we doing? What are we using to optimize their experience and how they feel?
I think one of the big challenges that InsureTechs have, and when I talk about it, when I say InsureTechs now, I'm talking about insurance companies or MGAs, is that are you different, right? Are you different enough to make your case to the insured that they should go with you instead of, one of the top 5 insurers in the country?
No, I think, that's what we prove day in and day out. I think that's what our growth numbers show. I think that that's what our customer experience shows, is really using that time to distinguish yourself, to show that, yes, things can be different than it used to be. And the market's changing, and being able to change in front of it and with it and understanding the needs of the consumer is of utmost importance. And being able to pivot and do things quickly is huge.
Can we talk about texting for a minute?
Absolutely.
Are you using texting in your process?
Absolutely.
Talk to us about texting and how that's going and how you're using it.
So we reach out to the customer via text in numerous situations. We do at time of claim file, we will reach out via text. And some of this is establishing how that customer wants to be communicated with. And they can not respond, and hey, you don't respond to it, and you tell us on the phone that you'd rather talk. Awesome. We won't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. But that goes back to their experience. Mm-hmm. We also, there's a case study on our website from Hurricane Ida that kind of walks through cat response and what we do. And, when the storm, we've all seen the cone of uncertainty going up through the Gulf. And, we texted all of our insureds that were within that cone, hey, this is Ken. Hurricane Ida, or Storm Ida at that point, is headed your way. Here's a link to a blog with some hurricane hardening tips. And then as the storm passes through, we reach out to them again. And, hey, Mr. Johnson, Hurricane Ida just went through your area. How are you? And reaching out to the customers, establishing that relationship and that rapport pre-claim is huge. And our response rates to these text messages are over 65% historically.
Wow, that's big.
Over the last 2 years. And, we have some insureds from Ida that were laughing. They're like, you texted me before my parents did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, you're just building that relationship and everything else. And, we're also getting real-time imagery from the insureds via text, via photos. Hey, everything's okay here. Here's a picture of my house. Here's a picture of my yard. Just the information that comes in at that point really allows us to triage and understand expected claim volumes and the projections for everything else. And so, we had 68% of our Hurricane Ida claims in the door within 72 hours of the storm passing through an area.
Nice.
Wow.
So we're able to have conversations with the boots on the ground folks that need to be there, whether that's tarps or that's water mitt or whatever that looks like. Because we know about these claims up front, we're able to respond faster, and we're able to have initial reserves set up and triage set up so much faster because we are proactive with it.
What excites you as a claims professional, as a claims leader, looking forward in the next few years? What makes it exciting to get to your desk in the morning? Wherever your desk, whichever desk you may be working from.
Stand-up desk.
I was about to say, the fact that I'm standing up, I figured that was going to get called out at some point here.
We had to give Clay a little grief, but
not we. But you did. But
well, I don't have a stand-up desk. That's why I gave him grief. Okay.
I'm sorry.
If I had one, I would have said, "Oh, don't you love yours? I love mine." But no.
Well, no. The comment was more, "I'm old. I'm sitting and I'm eating, and you're standing up." So it's.
Okay. Now, you know what? This isn't about me. This is about you. So let's stay on topic here. Okay. Focus, everybody. Focus.
Yeah. I think for the future, what excites me is really just delivering on the promise and adding that value prop to the insureds and what they do. Because again, we are we come into the picture when they've had something bad happen. And, whether that be a wildfire or a hurricane or something else, like oftentimes like they're shaken. And this is our time to come in and really outline expectations, outline the promise, and then deliver on it and really just build that customer experience. Because look, insurance is a relationship business, no matter what, no matter which way you look at it. My dad owned an independent agency when I was growing up, and he had it in a small town in North Georgia. It was the insurance agent, the doctor, the CPA, the dentist, right? Like, and that was all relationship, and it still is. And I think oftentimes as an industry, we get lost in that, and we stick our head in the clouds, and it's like, no, it's not about that. It 1000% is about that experience.
I agree. I think that there's a lot of excitement about, or maybe a misunderstanding that maybe we can make tools that replace some of that relationship aspect, develop AI that can take care of that. Like I've been shopping for insurance for myself, and I let somebody have my phone number, and they continue to text me, which I don't stop because I'm just interested in it professionally. But I know no one's texting me, right? Some AI tool is texting me. If I got a personal text, I might respond to that.
But that's the kicker, right? Is understanding how you want to be communicated with, not how everyone wants to be communicated with. You're always going to have that insured that wants to talk to the chatbot at 2:30 in the morning because that's just the way they are. And you're going to want the person that, hey, send me a text 30 minutes before my field adjuster gets here. If that's the avenue that claim is, send me a text when you get the estimate. Send me a text when you pay me. Like that. Right. There's certain people that all they want is, I told you I was going to do it. I did it. Here's the confirmation of it. And then there's the people who, you're on the phone with for an hour and a half because that's what they want and that's what they need. And being able to identify that is huge.
Well, we know that you're in the middle of a very dynamic thing. When do new states start to roll out?
So we're wrapping up the end of 2021 and, kind of setting expectations for 2022 and kind of working on what states are next and when they're going to launch. And so ideally, the market sees some new things soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, we'll look forward to that. And we are so grateful and thrilled to have had you on here because Lee's a claims professional. I'm a claims pretender. So, but we like to have claims people on to talk about this world that we're in, because a lot of claims people look at this world cynically, look at the world of InsureTech cynically, and there might be some reason for that still on the claims side. I think that the claims end of InsureTech still has a lot of promise yet to be realized. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. But I think it's creating that promise and who you're creating that promise for and who you are truly there serving and making sure has the best experience possible.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I love that as an end spot. So when we're in Tampa next, where are we going to dinner? That's what I want to know.
Just don't make it during winter or middle of summer because you might come here and it'd be 35.
We don't want the iguanas falling on us during dinner.
Come during Gasparilla. Come for Gasparilla. Come hang out with 400,000 of your closest friends to watch a big pirate parade.
That'd be fun.
The 4th largest parade in the country.
Is it really?
Did not know that.
Now I got to Google pirate parade. I had no idea there was a thing.
It's this weekend. So, yeah.
Man, I live a sheltered life.
Understatement. Man lives in Waco, Texas. Thank you very much for being with us. I know it took us a long time to get you on, but it was well worth the wait, and all the best to you. Thanks, Clay.
Thanks,
Thank you all both very much.
I've always enjoyed having claims professionals on the podcast. I mean, it's fun to talk to people who do what we do, right?
Yeah.
Or parts of what we do.
Yeah, I feel like I understand it a little bit more.
I should hope you do.
It's not as hard to understand.
If you don't, I'm going to tell your boss. I mean,
well, he might be listening now.
Do you think?
No, I don't.
Lee's boss is a man named John Hall, who's actually been a guest on our podcast.
Yes, early guest.
Very early. I think he was number 5, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be right.
Or something like that. Yeah. It's a good podcast.
Maybe he listens. Maybe he listens to the podcast whenever he's on his Peloton bike or something like that. And who knows?
We thank Clay for being with us. It was great to hear his perspectives and about his experience. And we thank all you for being with us once again. And we are back live and in color. Not so much color, but live. And look forward to spending another year with you. In fact, this might be like our 3rd anniversary.
Yeah. I mean, it's right here. We might have missed it. Happy anniversary if I missed it.
3 years on. Congratulations. Well, so we'll say to you what we say to everybody every week when we're all done with this nonsense, and that is...
Goodbye, everybody.